time. It's a while ago since Death Prophet was like this snowball thing. You have the Oracle with it, so technically it's okay. You know, you have the Oracle to heal with the Death Prophet, but the Oracle can only choose one target. Like you don't want both the DP and the Husker to be reliant on the Oracle to be around and heal them. So I don't know, man. And with the surprise AA picks to end the draft, well, not really a surprise, honestly. It was pretty go-to that the Warlock would be in the mid lane, and then AA final pick, surprised to see not banned out, in the fifth phase. So, I like Friends draft a little bit more, just because AA seems to put an end to this Husker strategy quite well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Undershock Warlock. I have not seen that for some time. Trying to remember if I've seen it at all, but I've heard very good things. What's the matchup going to be like in terms of overall farm and, equilibrium?
The DP versus Warlock matchup.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a Warlock favored matchup, to be honest, because the way that DP wins the lane in mid usually is by having the Spirit Siphon and just go aggressive, but the Warlock doesn't really care too much about that. He has a little bit better right-click damage once you have a couple of items. You have that heal that's pretty insane. You know, if you use it on yourself, you're never going to be able to die, so the Warlock should have a decent time mid. And his support's also a little bit better at rotating in the mid lane. Oracle Rubik is very static about defending this Elder Titan Sand King lane, whereas the Elder Titan can make quick rotations to the mid lane, so I think Friends have a better time to win the mid lane, for sure.
All right. Now, whose draft overall are you favoring here? That kind of early game snowball being thrown up by Flipside, or the very calm, controlled Friends lineup?
I think Friends just look better because of the AA. Like, both lineups are very focused about the mid game, where you want to have Roshan control and you want to like get towers in the 15-minute mark when the Axe have Blink, when the Armlet is up on the Husker, and same thing for Friends when they are level 6 on the Warlock and they have maybe the first big item on him. So they both want to fight in that timing, and with an AA, it just feels like the Husker is not going to be as strong as you want it to be.
Yeah, I mean, the big wild card here is AA's levels. We've seen AA get his level 6 at like 7 minutes and also at 15 minutes. It really depends how much farm priority, how much solo XP he's able to soak in. Hopefully able to get that Ice Blast off before Huskar starts rotating and slapping some burning spears through your flesh.
Yeah, he has the setup to get a lot of farm though, because the Axe, even if he goes into the offlane, Axe versus Morphling, the Morphling should be able to pretty much solo that lane, so the AA can just focus on pulling and getting his own experience. And obviously it's not a tri-lane, since the Elder Titan will be either bottom or mid most of the game probably, so we will have a good time.
All right, so hopefully everyone loading back in, getting started. Okay, let's play this game that you hate so much. Where do you think we're going to see the first blood?
Where to see the first blood? Well, hopefully at the rune, honestly, because both teams it's the Russian mentality, right? You want to fight as early as possible just to insert your dominance or something like that. So fight at the runes is my guess.
Yeah, we've got Roger taking a little bit of damage there from old icy fingers, but always want to fly, sitting back, playing pretty conservatively, has those sentry wards, has the observers ready to go, but not going to go in too deeply to place them now. Radiant, they're all smoked up, maybe looking for some sort of rotation. There's already a very nicely placed observer in their jungle, and it will scout out the Oracle's movement, so Vanskor revealing for his team, and there could be an engage up at that bottom rune like you were talking about. We've got the Elder Titan still holding on to his stomp if he needs it. But they'd really like to give Undershock that extra bit of bounty to start out the lane well.
I'm a little bit surprised that France isn't rotating more people to the bottom lane though, because like you said, they have that ward. They know that there's at least like 2 to 3 people down in the bottom area. So unless they expect like it to be DP plus Husker and a support only, then you would see like, okay, the A is moving in, so they're readying for it. They want to fight this, definitely.
Look at these stats coming out from Huskar here. 8 tangos, he's going to take a lot of damage, but then 3 iron branches, just making sure he absolutely gets the most out of those starting items.
Yeah, that's a lot of regen, you know? Tangos and then just the happy tree tangos, that gives you a lot more regen, so he should expect to have a lot of contestation in the lane. He was playing against the Sand King ET, so he knows that this is not going to be an easy lane.
Oh man, that Caustic Finale is going to really get on his nerves pretty quickly. It'll be interesting to see how the Huskar builds. I mean, I'm not quite sure how Sadoy is going to be able to level up, if he's going to max out those Burning Spears to get his most damage output, if he wants to grab any more points in the Inner Vitality. I've seen Huskars not pick up Inner Vitality to level 9 or 10. but I think he's going to be needing it a little bit earlier than that.
It kind of depends. It's like a trade-off. You can get it if you want to have some security in the lane, but at the same time, like once you're level 6, you know, the A will just start ice blasting you, and your healing doesn't really matter anymore. So, you can say good for both things, right?
Yeah, I mean, Sadoy definitely going to be feeling a lot of pressure here. Has Vanscore to back him up. How effective do you think the Oracle's going to be here, or will he eventually be rotating out?
I mean, the Oracle doesn't do too much against these two heroes. He does a good amount of right-click damage for support, but he just doesn't have much with the Rubik to follow him up. Like, they have setup for each other, but none of them have a lot of damage before they have a couple of levels. Like, the Oracle does that damage at level 3, but before that, it's mediocre at best.
Alright, a little bit of initiation onto the Sand King. He does not have his Burrow Strike, but they're not going to follow up with a Rubik Telekinesis. Instead, just letting him off with a warning, allowing Huskar to get some pretty alright farm here. Picked himself up 3 last hits, but up top here, we've got our little water droplet, Yoki. He's just going to be picking up a ton of farm. 9 last hits already. There's no pressure for him as Axe opted to go into the jungle. That seems real dangerous to me, letting a Morphling free farm in lane.
It's a trade-off because Slasher will naturally get a lot more in the jungle than he can in the lane, just because Axe jungles insanely fast. However, they do have the Elder Titan, so they need to be careful because Elder Titan is pretty well known for being able to rotate in and put some pressure on the Axe when he's jungling.
Speaking of rotating pressure, mid lane, Tame My Wild is going to be stomped up, surrounded on 3 sides, throws out a Crypt Swarm, but will provide the first blood. It's going to be no fear grabbing that one up, so Titan able to afford those boots if you'd like to grab them. Going to get that flying courier soon, but still, things are going really well for Friends. They've got Yoku free farming in the top. They've got a kill in the mid lane. Things are going all right as long as they can keep the Huskar at bay.
Yeah, this is his Flipside. They need to keep watch of Nofi at all times because he's the one who can rotate at every single hero they have up on Flipside and on the bottom lane.
Sadoy, he's going to get stomped up there. There's only so much Vanscore can do. He's got those Purifying Flames, but I don't think it's going to be enough. There's the slap out. Sand King picking up another kill. And now that's going to be 1-0 for him in lane. He might get lifted up and punished for this as there's a double damage Rubik. Very angry about the death of his friend. One more bop of the staff will not be doing enough. The Purifying Flames from Oracle actually helping out Afterlife there. He pops a salve, and he's going to be back up to full before this wave even meets.
Yeah, it's going pretty well for Friends. It's kind of what you want to expect out of this lane. The Elder Titan is getting work done. He's rotating into the mid lane, putting some pressure on Tame My Wild. And you can see Tame My Wild in the mid lane. That Shadow Word plus the Fatal Bonds, he's just suffering.
Yeah, I mean, once you get that AA Blast online, you can just drop that combo. If you connect with the little Ice Sphere, you've got a very dead Death Prophet. There's really no regen you can use to get through that. Now Huskar continuing to farm up all right. Now second on the last hit chart, giving Morphling a little bit of run for his money, but I mean, look at Yoku up here. He's just having the time of his life. He can zone out the entire map. No one's rotating up. I mean, the Axe finally crawling out of the jungle, but I mean, with just an Iron Talon and 200 gold in the bank, Chachlo can't do anything about this.
Yeah, and you can see that the A has also just decided to block his own camp, so he knows that Slashlo won't be able to take this like big camp that he's also trying to now. So Slashlo, he's now starting to move into the top lane, so you may want to contest him off lane a little bit. However, it won't really stop him from farming. Like, it's still just going to be a trade-off, if anything. He may find the A here, though, if he's... Okay, he doesn't walk that way, but he could still find him.
I mean, AA would be a nice little kill, but honestly, can Chachlo even keep him locked down? He's got himself that 1 point in call, but Always Wanna Fly is alright in terms of stats. He's got that Fairy Fire for regen, and I don't think Axe would even be able to get him down if he 1v1'd.
At least not without boots, which he has on the base right now, so he's just going in. He's taking a stack now. It's only double stack, but you know, it's a little bit of gold going to the way of Flipside, so everything is better than nothing. The A will leech a little bit though, so it's okay for him, and oh, Axe.
Yeah, he's about to get stomped. No fear, just laying down the hammer. Oh gosh, this is going to be a very, very dead Axe. Undershock is going to get battle hungered up, but he should be just fine. There is going to be that healing salve as well. It looks like they might be trying to initiate onto Roger, but with the help of the Death Prophet, I think that's going to be the end of the engagement. But 0 for 3 right now. Friends all across the board making things happen with this Elder Titan. He's been doing a fantastic job with full kill participation so far.
Yeah, this is working out pretty well for the side of Friends. They have 3 kills, they haven't lost anyone. The only bad thing, I guess, is Afterlife. He doesn't have too many last hits, but he's making up for it by getting kills. And you can see Sadoy, he's just feeling the pressure constantly.
Yeah, I mean, he's got not a whole lot to his name right now. The brown boots and turning some of those branches into the magic wand. But now fresh out of regen, there's not a whole lot he can do. And look at this, under the tower. They're going to be securing another kill for this Sand King. Now 2-0, no fear, 2-0-2. This is a phenomenal rotation from the Elder Titan. His stomps are just brutal. What does Flipside do to play against that?
It feels like they're just sacking everything so that the Axe can get his free farm and get his timings on his items, but I don't think the Axe with 30 last hits that's 6 minutes into the game can make up for losing 4 kills. It just doesn't feel like it's enough they're getting from that offlane position.
Yeah, I mean, with Flipside, I thought their strategy was going to be early game pressure, kind of charging in as a group, teaming up, feeding Huskar nice early kills to start the snowball, but it hasn't really been going that way. Flipside are playing quite passively, trying to just avoid the rotations from Friends, but it seems like Friends overall can actually take this fight better in the late game. Now, Always Wanna Fly will most likely be in some trouble here. Oh, no, the Tango up, so he shouldn't be burning down from the Battle Hunger, just has to limp his way back to base. Meanwhile, Morphling ripped apart the tower, continuing to work on the wave, and feels absolutely no pressure. Yoku is going to be halfway towards a Lincoln Sphere before anyone even notices how farmed he is.
Yeah, he's doubling the Huskar's farm. Even with the kill in the bottom lane, that's a good start for the side of Flipside. They finally get something with this trailing. The Oracle has a couple of levels, so his damage is relevant now with the Purifying Flames level 2. But just with 1 kill to the Huskar, he's still on half of the Morphling CS, so it's not making up for it. Definitely not. It's a slow start, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they're putting a lot of eggs into Shotchlow's basket, allowing him to get that free farm. I mean, Axe has Tranquils if he wants them. Gonna be rushing that Blink Dagger. But even when Axe gets the Blink, where's the follow-up damage? You know, where's the actual kill potential? It seems like Friends, they've got themselves unlocked. They've got the damage from the Morphling. They've got the starting, or the initiation from the Elder Titan. And speaking of initiation, there we go once again. Epicenter to boot. Just slapping down Vanskor. Yeah, ain't no way he lives through this. Hopefully he's going to be slapped out. But the Burning Spear, Sadoy trying to go in, trying to get something done. There is going to be that Spirit Siphon. No Fear does give his life. Finally giving up that streak. Sadoy escaping, Oracle escaping. I think Friends kind of undervalued the survivability of the Oracle.
Yeah, that was a beautiful move from Vanskor. He just instantly popped up his Fate's Edict on himself. He didn't take any damage from the Sand King ultimate, the Echo Stomp, or anything like that. It's an amazing spell, you know. If you get it off, then you just laugh at the Sand King.
Yeah, I mean, surprised he was able to actually get that off between the Epicenter, the Stomp, and then the channeling up of the Sand King ult, but a little bit of mistiming there on Friends' stuns mean they aren't able to secure a nice easy pick on the support. Alright, now going back to our carries here, Sadoy does pick up that Helm of the Iron Will, so most likely grabbing up the armlet ASAP, but again, Ancient Apparition, almost level 5, so going to be getting that level 6 relatively shortly, probably around the same time Sadoy finishes the armlet, so we'll see if that HP is actually going to keep him alive, or if he's just going to continue to tick down.
You always go for armlet even against an AA. It just makes it a lot harder to get your objectives going, because you usually want to go Roshan and just abuse the armlet. You can't really do that, because if you get hit by a blast while you're low HP, you just, you know, easy pop, right? So they need to be careful. Afterlife though in the bottom, it does get picked off, so they finally get some more kills down here.
Now up top, we do have Shotchlow. The Stomp isn't going to connect, but still a ton of pressure being exerted by the Morphling. Now with that casual Perseverance, he's halfway to his Lincoln Sphere, so a little bit of counter pressure coming in from the top lane, but like you did mention, Sand King going down is relatively important. He's one of those offlaners that you're like, oh yeah, he can go down a couple of times, but this particular Sand King was doing really, really well and fed a 300 gold bounty straight to the Huskar. That's another big component of his armlet right there.
Yep, that's pretty good. Both teams were pretty much trying to do the same thing. Like, the Axe was getting pressured in the top lane and the Sand King in the bottom lane. But Flipside, they managed to get the kill and they don't lose anything for it. So it's good. The Morphling still getting an amazing amount of farm. He's 2,000 gold ahead of the Huskar. So, like you said, he's going to be getting that Lincoln Sphere at a scary timing. Like, usually you're like, okay, this Morphling is just going to AFK farm until like 15 minutes. But it's probably going to be completed like 12, 13. So this Morphling can go active very, very quickly this game.
Yeah, I mean, aside from starting wards, we haven't seen any smokes from either side. Who do you think is going to be the one to actually grow the balls and go for that first big rotation?
I imagine both teams are waiting for the smoke uses until they have the blinks on the Sand King / the Axe, because they just want to, you know, Death Bowl and just jump in the enemy's face whenever they have those blinks up. So they will probably use like 3-4 smokes in like 5 minutes timing once the blink is completed. You can see that the Axe, He's trying to get it. He's 1,000 gold away from it, so it won't be taking too much of his time to get it completed with these stacks in the jungle. Whereas the Sand King, it will take him a little longer. His stacks got taken away earlier by the axe, so you know he doesn't have any backup farm, but he should be able to get it either way at some point, you know.
All right, now Dire are going to use a scan. They do scout out Vanscore in the wing, so maybe not just ready to fully go in and drop the base yet, but they are grouping up. Looks like they are preparing for some sort of initiation, at least a rotation down to the bot lane. They bring an Undershock, level 9. He has been doing a lot to get himself some XP. And they might be able to go just drop the golems. If they can lock down Huskar, that's going to be a really high value kill. Meanwhile, once again, Yoku's still farming. This is exactly what a Morphling wants. Really, the best way to set up your Morphling is give him uncontested lane farm for the first 10-15 minutes, and no one's really even noticed that on the side of Flipside. I worry that they're undervaluing how much Yoku's going to be able to have once he starts being able to rotate with his team. Now Smoke's going to pop. There's the initiation. Sodoi, oh man, they are locked in place. Going to be healed up by the Oracle, but there's the Ice Blast. No more heals for you. Looks like he should be popping relatively shortly there. And now Exorcism being dropped up by the Death Prophet, trying to prevent some sort of chase, but they lose their Huskar at first. The call a little bit off the mark, and there's going to be a nice little waveform as Yoku finally comes in, leaves the lane to collect some blood, and they're looking to continue to dive deep. They might be able to go past the tower. Waveform up in 3 seconds. Tame My Wild looking to go in and try to contest up some of this pick-off potential, but no, they get one and they're about to get the other. This is just a massacre going forward. Afterlife does lose his life, but definitely going to be worth this if they can actually secure the kill on the Death Prophet. Oh, the Morphling going down though. That might just make this even. Oh, but Roger, no, he's going to be picked off as well. It's going to be a full team wipe coming out for Friends, but it seems like Friends are just continually dropping a couple of resources. They dropped their Sand King and their Morphling and their Warlock because they dived and they just kept going. Who is that fight more beneficial to?
That's the weirdest fight I've ever seen. I mean, Friends, they won that fight so hard, but losing the Morphling as well as the Warlock actually makes it good for Friends because the Morphling was so farmed to begin with. He was like 3,000 gold ahead of the Huskar, so dropping him is not what you want from when you're Friends, especially because they used the Golem, huge cooldown on that spell. It's 80 seconds cooldown right now, and they had a beautiful initiation. Like, they got 3 kills pretty much straight off the bat by using the Golem, the Ice Blast, so they went a little bit too greedy. They went greedy for what the DP as well as the Rubik kill, and then ended up losing the Morphling and Warlock for that. So, not worth it. Definitely not worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been okay as long as they kept the Morphling alive, but he just got shot down there. Did pick up his ultimate orb, so gonna be moving forward in progress towards his Lincoln Sphere, but certainly not gonna be that 12-minute Lincolns like he potentially could have had if he didn't go down there.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little bit later. Still a very good timing, obviously. He is still top of Penetrator by a pretty big amount compared to the Huskar, so Friends, they are still a little bit ahead compared to Flipside. They just need to be careful about the next fight, because if Flipside can turn it around one more time, they could potentially get Roshan and then begin their own kind of strategy to begin doing its thing with the Huskar, but it's still hot,
All right, so Doi making the most of his time right here, just slapping away at this tower, is going to be healed up. He knows there's no Ancient Apparition ulti as it was dropped on him previously, but the Spirit will harass him back, and he's not able to finish off the tier 1, so tower advantage still slightly going to be in favor of Friends as Morphling was able to lock down that top.
Yeah, Tamar Wild, they really want to put some pressure in the bottom lane now. They just picked up the Blink deck on Slashlow. They have the Hood on Tamar Wild as well, so they're feeling pretty good about taking this tower, especially because they have the Exorcism available. But as you can see, Ice Blast comes in. Sedoi is pretty low.
He's going to get slept up.
Oh, wait, he just... Wait.
Oracle? Sir? That's not how that works. He went for the Purifying Flames, which of course is a little bit of damage and then some heal over time, but with the Ice Blast you do not get that heal over time, so he essentially just nuked his own teammate.
Yeah, he had to use that false promise. I think he realized, oh, I may have just killed him if I don't false promise him.
Alright, now rotation up. There's going to be that waveform out by Yoku, and a little bit more free farm going the way of Sedoi. Oh man, that would have been so comical. Either way, back in the mid lane, Tame My Wild, still going to be looking to farm up, has picked up a casual Hood of Defiance, which is a little bit unusual for the Death Prophet. It's always nice to get that magic resist, but yeah, I was kind of expecting more of the Veil, that magic amplification, rather than the self-preservation.
I think you're gonna see a DP this game with Hood maybe into BKB straight away because they like I said earlier, they can only have one person who can rely on the Oracle, not both of them. So one of them need to go for that like uncontroversial build, I guess, just to survive in the team fights.
Alright, now another stomp gonna be dodged out, this time looking to get the most out of that exorcism. And there we go, Fortify being spent on the tower, but I don't think it's gonna keep it alive. First exorcism should yield, or rather, second exorcism should yield the tower in favor of Flipside. One more hit. Oh! The brief moment of hesitation from the Death Prophet means that Undershock was able to get the tower deny when he just totally shouldn't have.
Yeah, that was a little bit tense. I think Flipside, they imagined that Friends would just jump them with everything they have. They did have the replicate available from the Morphling as well. It looks like they're still trying to set something up with the Invisible Rune on the Sand King. He could do something fancy here behind the tier 1 tower in the mid.
I mean, he's got the do if he wants to go in for the epicenter, but again, without any lockdown, he's just kind of scouting around, trying to make sure no one is low, crossing back to the base. Could try to contest some Axis farm, could potentially steal some Tranquils, but there's going to be a rotation towards that mid lane. I don't think anyone's going down just yet.
Healing the Tranquils, that would be the ultimate BM, man.
Oh, there we go. There is going to be that smoke on the courier. Will it be revealed? No, Sand King opts to crawl the other way, so not going to be popping out that smoke. Could have been a fancy play.
They may still know because the smoke was on the courier, so if he clicked on the courier and saw the smoke, they could have read that situation. We'll see. As bottom lane, you can see that Nofi, he's hiding himself. Morphling is also just standing away, so they at least expect something.
Looks like everyone's grouping up around the Roche pit. It's still relatively early to try that out. I mean, Zadoy hits hard, but he's just not super survivable, so they're going to opt to rotate up pretty deeply now. There's a scan being used by the Dire to make sure no one in the Radiant is crawling around the jungle, but little do they know, they're a bit closer to home. This Dire might have to worry. Undershock, well, he could get set up upon. There's going to be some pings out onto Undershock, but it's a little too deep to chase now. So Smoke gets them some decent vision, allows the Radiant to go and rotate a little bit, but they aren't able to secure any blood. Now No Fear going to bump straight into Shochlow. Immediate blink out from the Axe. There's going to be the Spirit continuing to scout down, heads to the low ground, and does connect onto Shochlow once again, but I don't think the ET has any intention of soloing this Axe.
Oh, Afterlife in the top lane needs to be a little bit careful. Either way, a nice awareness from Friends there, though. I mean, they know that Flipside is trying to look for something, and they just waste their time pretty much. They stand on the edge of the engagement, but they never actually let them jump them, so it's working out pretty good for them. The Huskar's not farming that well at this point. He's still pretty much 3,000 gold behind of the Morphling. He's sitting on a Dragonlance Helm, which is the typical Huskar build. I'm wondering if he wants to go for BKB this game just because of the AA. We could see that happening at least.
I mean, yeah, it's got potential. Again, looking at the net worth, we've got Morphling, completed Lincoln Sphere, completed Yasha. I mean, this guy is just on the absolute top of the chart, surpassing the Huskar's farm by still about 2,000. When is that going to be a tipping point at some point? Do you think the Morphling's going to fall off, or will he continue to just be the last hit, the net worth leader throughout the entire game?
Yeah, he will not back off. He has so many ways of getting around on the map with the replicate, and he could also pick up some Shroud Boots eventually, whereas the Huskar, he doesn't really have the same way of moving around. Like, he can farm one way, but he can't get from one to another way as quickly as the Morphling can. Like you just saw, he farmed the mid lane, and then instantly he's in the bottom lane just farming up. He is going for the right-click build as well on the Morphling. I like the Manta style. I think he may still go for Ethereal Blade afterwards, but the Manta style first is probably because of the Oracle's, the Death Prophet's silence, which is a huge problem for him.
Mm-hmm. It also just gives a whole ton of push potential. I mean, I look at Friends' lineup, and I mean, yeah, the Warlock Golems are great, but aside from that, I don't see any other, mega tower push tools. But having 3 Morphlings slapping away, also going to be a big assistance. If they're able to go through and actually take a decent team fight, get a couple of Flipside down, then they can push much more efficiently with that Manta style.
Yeah, he doesn't have the classic Shadow Demon to help him along, so I guess he has to make his own illusions this game.
Gosh, there was an 80-minute game yesterday that I was watching. It had Morphling, it had Shadow Demon, it had Alchemist with Mantas, Morphling at a Manta. At one point, there was a full team fight that was just illusions of either team fighting each other.
That's the classic one, just split push versus split push. Who can do it best?
All right, so things are moving forward here. 18-minute mark. We are thoroughly placed into the mid game. Let's see if there's any big mid-game items. Looks like, again, Axe with his Blink picks up that Vit booster, so maybe trying to pick up the Vanguard into Crimson Guard. I don't think he's going to go straight for hard. I think that's a little bit much.
Yeah, I think Crimson Guard is going to be the play. It does help a little bit against the Warlock Golem, obviously, as well as the Morphling. Both of those things hit pretty hard, but I would still say, like, Crimson Guard is a weird item in general. They do have the hood probably getting completed by the DP.
Yoku gonna walk right into everyone. There's the Lincoln's Pop. He's lifted up into the air. There's gonna be a nice Ice Blast connecting onto a bunch. Only clips onto Roger. And looks like Yoku is still alive. Going in Adaptive Strike onto Shotchlo. Gonna make a Replicate, turning things onto the aggressive. Meanwhile, on the low ground, we've got a bit more of a fight as Huskar is gonna be able to pick up the Ancient Apparition. And now over here in this jungle, we've got ourselves a Sand King ult. But somehow Shotchlo is still alive. Can he get enough heal through this? Just barely. Oh, it looks like he will be able to live. And the blink away before the Adaptive Strike or the Burrow Strike connects. Now Roger just able to go in, steals that Burrow Strike. He's got a little bit more mobility over here. We are going to have Sadoy doing the very best he can to stay alive. He's got his armlet. There's going to be the Lincoln's popped. Can Yoku live through this? Life Break comes in. They get down the Morphling. Sadoy with a fraction of health, doing exactly what he needs. The Rubik moves forward, and Huskar gets a double kill with just a 10th of his health left. This armlet absolutely saving lives.
Yeah, Huskar is definitely a little scary here. I mean, yeah, the Morphling has a lot of fun, but as you can see, like, he got silenced, he couldn't use his Adaptive Strike, he already had max strength pretty much, so right-click damage isn't really a thing you do once you have, like, 80% strength, so it was a little bit weird that he went onto the Huskar there. I guess he expected that there was some kind of follow-up, maybe the Ice Blast would have been off cooldown or something like that, but clearly that was not the play. He got killed. A little bit unfortunate. A lot of gold being given to the Huskar. Huskar is actually now on the same amount of farm as the Morphling just from that little fight.
Yeah, I mean, all game, looking at the overall net worth chart, it was kind of Morphling getting so much free farm that it was dragging the net worth in favor of Friends, but with Huskar just raking in the pennies right there, it is just about back to even in terms of overall levels, actually in favor of Flipside at this point.
Yeah, it's very surprising, and both of the core heroes actually went for survivable items like the hood on the DP.
Oh, Yoku once again gonna be silenced up. Can't hop to the Replicate. The Culling Blade cleans him off. Tame My Wild with a really well-timed silence right there. Immediately after the call, there was no freedom for Morphling to waveform away, and that's the second time in a row he's been off the map, not farming. His items are stagnating. This is really, really bad news for Friends.
Yeah, that was a beautiful setup. They just guessed that he was gonna TP to the top lane, and then he even used his waveform like to begin with in the lane, so perfect setup. And you know, the silence is still just a huge problem, because if he gets silenced before he can pop his strength morph, then he just sits there and takes it.
Alright, so another push coming out. Sadoy just sitting back, tanking the tower like it's nothing. There is going to be an AA ult at the ready, so he's got to be a bit careful of that. The Spirit coming in, looking for that stomp. Sadoy, playing with fire here, gets down the tower, and there's going to be no Ice Blast to follow up as AA is picked off in this top lane situation. There's going to be a death for a death as they just kind of go at each other. Axe with the call, AA with the point-blank nuke. So they both fall down. Either way, ends up resulting in a tower for Flipside.
I think Flipside will be happy with that, because now the A is down for 20 seconds, so we don't have to worry about the Ice Blast in the Roshan pit, so the Huskar can be a little bit more free now. He just goes in, he just does his classic thing, just, you know, drop down on low HP, regen and whatnot. They will be able to get this Roshan. Friends, they do know this is happening, but as you can see, it's a little bit too late.
I mean, they're postured up, maybe looking to take a fight after the Aegis comes out, but with Huskar now having 2 lives, good God, that is
BKB.
terrifying. Oh my God, how do you lock this guy down now? Even if there's the best Ice Blast of Ancient Apparition's goddamn life, you've got to get him down twice through magic immunity. That seems near impossible.
I like what Sadoy is doing this game though, because they have the Fate's Edict on the Oracle, and then plus the BKB like afterwards. He can be magic immune for something like 20 seconds at a time for the next couple of fights, so the AA Blast suddenly doesn't look as strong, at least, you know, for the next 5-10 minutes. Flipside, they will be able to do a lot of work, and they still have so many defensive items on all of their heroes, you know, the Vanguard on the Axe, the Hood of Defiance on the Death Prophet. So it's not like they have gone for greedy items, and they are just now beginning to get their like mid to late game items as well.
Alright, we'll have to see how that pans out. Now, you know, what are the power spikes looking like? Because obviously Flipside starting to hit their stride right now, but are they playing on a timer, or can they just kind of keep snowballing indefinitely?
I think Friends, they're pretty much in a position where they will not get much stronger for the next like 10 minutes, because the Warlock just finished his Aghanim Scepter, so the ultimate is pretty strong. The next big power spike for him will be the Refresher Orb, but the AA wants his Aghanim Scepter, and in between getting that like next big item and all of their heroes, they won't really be much stronger than they are right now. The Morphling definitely wants this Mantis Style before they do anything fancy, but they may have to give up like one tower, potentially even more, to get this Mantis Style. As you can see, he still needs about 1000 gold to complete it.
Yeah, definitely a hard life here. Far cry from that absolute free-farming Morphling we saw. He was killed like 3 times in a row, and all of a sudden, he's having a really tough time now. Rotation in, Huskar looking to patrol back No Fear and Undershock as they went. They tried to apply some push, but they're immediately forced back.
Yep, I like Flipside. They don't want to give anything up to Friends. They know that Friends, they have to get that next big item very, very soon, so just not letting them get any items makes sense. And on the top lane, Yoku's trying to catch Vanskor, but that's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, there was nice use of 4-steps there from the Axe. Vanskor was like, bail me out, buddy, 4-step me up. But of course, with Burrow Strike and Waveform, everyone can cross cliffs at this point.
Yeah, they have so much mobility on the side of Flipside now, and the DP picks up his plate mill. The Rubik is getting scarily close to an Aghanim Scepter where he can start, you know, dishing out spells left and right. So, Flipside, everything is looking pretty solid for them. As long as they can keep this Aegis and use it for, like, potentially another tier 2 tower, they will be in a good position this game.
Alright, now Radiant Scan, they do reveal that there's a dire hero up top, No Fear. I mean, he's just kind of YOLOing out on his own. Huge rotation in. Full 5-man smoke. There is going to be that TP out from No Fear. Don't think he's going to be caught in time. There he goes. Home free. So a little bit of Flipside's time wasted looking for that ET. But either way, everyone kind of stalemated out, waiting for that next big engage. Where's the next fight going to go down?
I mean, considering the fact that Flipside, they still have the Aegis, they will pretty much just be deathballing down the top lane now. The tier 2 tower is still standing up there. They may have to trade that for the bottom tier 2 tower. As you can see, Friends, they want to create as much pressure on the map as they can while they are just letting this tier 2 tower on the top lane fall, because clearly they don't want to fight them right now.
Yeah, I mean, what's Morphling's comeback in here? Because he's got his Manta, he's got his Lincolns.
Oh, mid lane.
It's alright. I think Afterlife is fine here. I mean, he's got himself a Yules if things really, really go south. He brings in the rest of his team. Morphling feels okay to fight now with this Manta. Feels like, alright, he's hit that next little stepping stone, that next level up in terms of his overall power. Now there is going to be Shachlo going in, gets Yulesed up, Elder Titan Spirit, will scout him out. He blinks down to the low ground, tries to get aggressive. Little does he know, the rest of the Dire are going to back him up. Oh no, they're failing. They are so far out of here. They do not want to fight after they see what's going down. Meanwhile, top lane, base is dropped. So Doi could be in some trouble. Undershock fighting with all he's worth. The Golems, though, they finish off his first life. He's going to be coming back. There is the Ice Blast, point blank, ready to go. It does connect. Now there's going to be the life break deep onto the AA, but always want to fly. Going to be able to live through the fire this time. Nice little rotation there. Warlock for the Huskar. Distracts the fight going on mid, and now this looks like it could turn very heavily in Friend's favor. There is going to be a Roger sitting there. He's got that little Burrow Strike if he wants to reinitiate, but for now the Golem's just going to keep chasing down Vanskor. Everyone trying to run for their lives. Maybe Shachlo tries to man up and go for the call, but looks like Flipside are trying to run away for now. Can they outspeed this Sand King? Does not look like it. There's the Exorcism popped. Looks like the decision has been made to try to live through this, but Tame My Wild getting kind of low. These Golems just bullying him down. See if he's able to get any farm out of that. There's a couple of gold going his way, and now reinitiation from Afterlife. Might regret this as he gets burned down very quickly from the Ghost Sleep onto Roger, but he's looking for something. Oh, Tame My Wild gonna get picked off here, trying to get down the stairs and will not be successful. Shachlo, one of the lone survivors on the Radiant side. This fight was just too long, too drawn out, and Roger may be the only one to get out with his life. What the hell happened there, Mad Kings?
I mean, Flipside, that was just, you know, the kind of play where you don't want to give up anyone and then you end up giving up too many, because they tried to get out with every single person on the team instead of just, okay, one guy gets jumped, like for example the Axe got jumped by the Sand King to begin things with, then they just ditch him and walk out with the rest. They tried to secure everyone escape, but clearly that was just not gonna happen. As Friends, they didn't want to give up anything. and they end up getting, what, 3 more kills than the initial kill on the Husker, which was, by the
Yeah.
way, a huge, huge kill on Sedoy, as he popped his BKB in the first life when he was low, and then ended up just being blown up in the second life.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it just seemed like Friends, they kind of had that clear strategy of pick off one, then the other, and Flipside just kept feeding into that. They were so indecisive on whether they were trying to take this fight or just backing out cleanly. So there was those little moments of hesitation. The Rubik turning to steal the Burrow Strike, the Death Prophet turning and popping Exorcism and trying to go in with those Soul Siphons, the Axe deciding if he should look to Blink Call. There wasn't that clear shot calling, trying to make sure that Flipside either all get out safely or all turn and re-engage.
Yeah, clearly. I mean, the play there was clearly just, okay, Sedoy died there, and then everyone else just disengages, gets out of there. You only lose the Husker. Sure, it's a Husker dying. However, he did get the Warlock Golems to be used. He killed the Warlock before dying, so you can say it's almost worth that he dies, even though you don't want that to happen, but at least everyone else could get out. And then Slashler tries to get a jump on the A, expecting him to be low and, like, easy pick-off, but it just went horrible, man. It just went really, really bad.
Yeah, I mean, Huskar is so reliant on just like life break, armlet, man up, jump onto someone, but of course AA can really put a damper on those plans. Now AA, only about 600 gold off from picking up that Aghanim Scepter for himself. That is going to make things vicious. This guy has gotten a decent amount of levels, now ticking over to that level 13 mark. Overall level breakdown's pretty interesting here, looking at the levels on Friends. Your Warlock and your Sand King still don't have their level 3 ulti. That's going to be, hopefully, a nice little go point when they pick that up for the next big team fight.
Yeah, they also have level 60 on the Warlock. He picked up his Blink Dagger, so he will have a lot easier of a time to use his Golems without just, you know, having to walk up and use it in a weird position. The A, like you said, the Aghanim set a huge power spike with that item. The Manta style is completed by the Morphling. He even has a Skadi soon to be completed as well on top of that. So, Flipside, they were looking stellar a second ago, but now Friends, they're starting to get that, like, end mid-game to late-game itemization coming online on their heroes, and I don't know if Flipside can continue just playing into that.
Now rotation back down, forcing out the Sand King, who's just kind of been a brat the entire game, just forcing these rotations, going in, lots of aggressive burrow strikes. That one was interesting. Just getting him very deep into the trees there. But he's been doing a good job kind of playing globally, keeping Flipside on their toes. Now he's saving up a ton of gold here. What's this big item going to be for Sand King?
It's kind of, sometimes they go for 4 stuff, but I think when you go Eels first, you probably always want to follow it up with an Aghanim Scepter just so you have a huge range in your spells. Plus, having the Caustic Finale to be applied on everyone when you Burrow Strike is pretty good, you know, with the Fatal Bonds, everyone suddenly pops, they get slowed, and it's a little bit nasty, and you can use it from so far away.
Alright, so everything continuing to move forward, waiting for this next big jump point, which for Friends seems to be, you know, keeping Morphling farmed up, getting those big levels going on Warlock. You got to get that level 16 on him and Sand King. For Radiant, looks like they might want to be able to take another Roche, giving Huskar a second life, makes it so he can play a little bit more far forward. Roshan is up. We'll see who's the first one to crawl into the pit and discover that. Meanwhile, for Huskar, there's been some decent item progression. He's picked up a halberd on top of his other big items.
Yeah, the Huskar's getting a lot of items. He still has the BKB, 9 seconds available on that. The Heaven's Halberd will help him a lot against the Morphling, because the Morphling doesn't have any way of dealing with it. But Flipside, they need to be quick right now, because they want to smoke just the same as Friends wants to, but Friends, they are now picking up the Aghanim Scepter on the AA, they're picking up the level 16 on the Warlock, so between the two teams, I would say that Friends' timing looks a little bit stronger. I guess it still depends on the initiations, but it just feels a lot easier for Friends to initiate, whereas Flipside, they rely on what Sludgelow can do. Like, if he can find someone, if he can jump someone, then it's fine, but beyond that, it's a little bit hard for them. You can see Afterlife in the top lane, he's already in position.
Oh, he's itching to go in on this. Now with the fan score here, it does make it a little bit more difficult. Again, the channeling of that ulti, the magic damage can easily be prevented. When you do have Morphling coming in, maybe Huskar is going to get baited in, trying to attempt something onto the Morph. Yoku going in a little bit deep. There's going to be the Burrow Strike. Vanscore just plunked down. That adaptive strike moving forward. Yules onto the Huskar. Not a whole lot he can do about this. Pops the BKB, but still has to sit there and take it from behind while 2 golems just whack away at him. Now moving in. Again, these one-by-one fights where Shotchla is like, all right, I'll save my team. Tame my wild as well. What are you doing here? Death Prophet, go home. Does end up picking off the Morphling, and now Roger on the back lines is able to get the lift onto Afterlife, but and we have that lift onto Tame My Wild as well. Should end up freezing out, and there's going to be Always Wanna Fly picking at him. Earth Splitter comes in from the side. She's trying to go in with that Soul Siphon, but freezes into place, trying to heal up, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Another Ice Blast brings her down. In the end, it's a Morph lost for 3 very high-value cores.
I mean, that was pretty much the top fight all over again. Sedoi gets picked off with Vansko, and then suddenly, you know, you have an Axe coming in on top of that. You have Tamer Wild moving in, but they already lost the fight, so, you know, they need to back up when it's over.
Stolen Ice Blast coming in, but barely tickles. And now, I mean, Rubik, he's only level 14, does not have that level 3 ulti just yet, so can't get the most out of that. Afterlife, he's getting a little bit low, but his Frosty Toes ain't gonna kill him anytime soon. This is looking really good for Friends after that last fight. Flipside, I really feel like they're lacking a clear shot caller. I think it's pretty evident from their play that they're not sure if they need to all back out or all engage at the same time, because this kind of one-by-one Axe goes in, then Death Prophet, then Rubik. It is absolutely costing them these team fights. Looking at the net worth, it just fell off a cliff after that 28-minute mark.
Yeah, definitely. Like, they have a lot of good items, but like you said, it just feels like whenever they start a fight, they don't have someone who can just be like, okay, we lost this, back out, right?
Yeah, I mean, for now, we've got that Morphling. Again, he completed the Ayascati before the last fight. Now, 2K more gold for him. Hopefully building up that Ethereal Blade soon, but maybe opting to skip the shotgun altogether now. Attempt to blink in, but immediate response from the Sand King. Wants nothing to do with these fights when his damage dealers aren't there.
I don't think you want to go for Ethereal Blade this game, just because you don't really need it. As you can see, he's already doing so much work just with the Scotty, and you can block the Ethereal Blade shot with the Fate's Edict from the Oracle, so just because of that small interaction with the Oracle, he may just be like, okay, I'd rather just want direct hit damage with NKB or something like that, which is an item he wants to get anyways against the Heaven's Halberd from the Huskar, so should be a damage item of some sort at least. We'll see which he decides to go for. The Fuel Blade is still good, but I just don't think it's the best item this game.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those items that you can pick it up in the, you know, early-ish mid-game, and then eventually you do end up selling it when you get to that late-game slotting. So he's already just kind of working his way around that. He's already got a couple of neat little items there. The Scotty, and I'm really surprised he found the farm for that after such a difficult mid-game.
Yeah, he definitely got bullied by that silence from the Death Prophet in the mid-game, but now that he has the Manta Style, he's pretty much unkillable again. Like, he's sitting on 2.1k HP. As long as he can get the Manta Style off, he will always be fine. The only way they can keep him controlled is pretty much the 4-second stun from the Axe with the call, so it's not a lot of time to move on. Like, 2,000 gold, you can't do that much damage in 4 seconds.
Man, Afterlife living on the edge, up on that high ground next to the tier 3, TPing home. Everyone grouping up, looking for that next big push. The Roshan, it's been stagnant for the last 5, 6, 7 minutes. Hopefully Friends make a rotation soon before they're ready and catch on.
Yeah, Friends, they know that they are a little bit stronger than Flipside is right now, so they don't want to go in for the Roshan themselves. And Flipside, however much they want to get the Rosh, like, you're playing against an AA, you're playing against a Warlock who can blink in with the Golems. Like, it's such a huge position for Friends to take a fight.
Refresher on the Warlock as well. So we've got like 80 Golems coming at you hot. There's going to be that stolen AA Blast connecting onto Undershock, but he drops the base. Oh, underneath the Ice Blast. Tame My Wild does not have long for this world. Gonna get healed up by the Oracle. Vanscore trying to prevent any sort of damage, but I don't know how long that's gonna last. There is gonna be the Exorcism coming back out. Meanwhile, BKB on BKB action. Undershock is able to get a double kill using the Golems. They're looking for more. Even through the Blade Mail, Yoku just shreds apart the entirety of Flipside, getting himself a double kill, securing the Roshan for Friends. Another full team wipe in favor of the Dire. I think this fight may be close to over, as the Roshan will once again fall into the hands of the Dire, and they can move in and attempt to push those tier 3s.
That was such a good defensive one, the Shark. Like, he got jumped by Slashla and got called up, but he got forced up to the cliff so he didn't get killed by the Axe. And then, you know, double Golem, Ice Blast on 2 people, they instantly blow up, and everything just goes to hell. I mean, double Golem, that's hard to fight into, right? It's a scary team fight tool.
Alright, so unfortunately the toilet golems fall. These are one of my favorite cosmetics in the game because they just look so stupid. Anyway,
They
this
just
tier
dropped
2
down.
is just going to be decimated here. Yoku has that replicate flying as well, so once this tier 3 mid is cleared up, I can just hop back and farm elsewhere. Already has the replicate clearing out the bottom lane, so easy wraparound to continue to push there. Now Vanscore has respawned. Trying to make the Morphling's life a little bit more difficult. Stolen Adaptive Strike attempted. Now there is going to be that blink call as Axe might not know what he's bargaining for. Afterlife with a nice deep blink in. They're looking to go continue to play around. No, Sidoi, he's ready to go in. He's laying in the burning spears. This water droplet about to get boiled onto the low ground, but hops back to the replicate. Completely fine, and since there were so many resources wasted on the Morphling, friends just scurry out from underneath Flipside's nose.
It was a decent hold from Flipside, but it's pretty much what you expected from friends. They already used the double golem and every other teamfight ultimate they had, so they only wanted the tier 2 tower and potentially just, you know, poke at the tier 3 tower. They didn't really expect to take it, so it's fine. You know, friends, they survive on everyone, they get back. They still won that huge teamfight. They have the Aegis on the Morphling, so it's going to be very, very scary from Flipside. And you can see Flipside, they're pretty much in the position where they have to go because they don't want to just wait and let the ultimates refresh on the side of friends. So even though they have Aegis on friends, Flipside, they still feel like it's better to fight now than wait for double golden.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to be doing their best here. Death Prophet ulti just cools down, so they're able to apply some of that ghosty pressure, but Fortify might put a damper in their plans. And again, there are those big team fight spells coming up in just a second or two. There we go. We've now got double golems on the field. In another 20 seconds, we've got triple golems on the field. So not a great time to be Flipside and want to continue this push. I mean, look at this Morphling here, just, or rather the Sand King, just having some fun, cutting the wave. About to run into the entirety of the Radiant squad. Who just...
Oh, this could be scary.
Did someone just BKB and I missed? All right, here we go. Oh, look at the damage. There's the Epi coming in. Roger blasted apart the Yule's ends and tamed my Wild. Going to attempt to be healed off by Vanscore, but I do not think he lives through this one. It's just a matter of trying to get the most damage done before he drops. He will end up getting a full heal courtesy of the Soul Siphons, but he's just surrounded upon by 3. Now there is going to be another 1v1 coming in as the sleep latches onto Vanscore, who has no more ulti, no more way to bail himself out. The gap close is going to be a bit of an issue here. Vanscore has no TP. There's going to be that boots of travel in. Oh, Vanscore having none of that. Purges off the teleport coming into this creep. And now No Fear can attack, but Afterlife is able to drop in. They finally get the Oracle after a wild goose chase. Meanwhile, the rest of the Dire already knocking at the front door of the Radiant, ripping apart these racks. Here's the toilet bowls coming in to do their magic. It looks like we could be close to a last fight, if not a GG. Huskar doing what he can against Yoku, but Yoku just sitting here tanking on this tier 3 tower like it's nothing.
Yeah, friends, they just seem so calculated in that defense as well. The Sand King just creep cutting the wave, and then suddenly Flipside, when they disengage, they even disengage in 2 different groups.
Oh!
Like, all on its own.
There's the stomp. There's more golems connecting with an AA blast as well. Everyone just burning low. The blade mail can't do shit to help this Axe. Everyone's dying. Buybacks are spent. Buybacks are burned. It's diebacks all around here. No Fear may end up losing his life to Sidoi, who's BKB'd up. Always Want to Fly goes into the Ghost Scepter form. No Afterlife. Oh man, he's just going to be able to go. Slow, steady tick damage there with the Sandstorm. Yoku in a little bit of trouble, could end up burning, morphing some strength. Life break onto Always Want to Fly, who does melt down, but it's a rampage now as the GG is called. Double rampage now for Afterlife. Popping out that quick little epicenter. Very well played from Afterlife. And Undershock just YOLOs right into the fountain, man. These guys are feeling good. Friends pick themselves up a really nice victory on the back of some successful team fights and some wonky plays from Flipside.
Yeah, it felt like friends, they were pretty calculated from the start to the finish. Like, they worked out well with the lane. They had that dual lane in the bottom lane that worked pretty well. They got some kills early on. They got 4 kills without Flipside getting